So the whole of chapter 1 is about the nature of the mind, as I've mentioned before, and then chapter 2 is about the practice of yoga. But as I've mentioned before, this is a very old text. It actually predates all of the discipline of Hatha Yoga and the creation of the breathing practices and postures. So Patanjali doesn't give any advice on that because that was still to come. But he does set out some two systems really of practice. And the fact there are two systems in the same chapter leads most scholars to believe that, much like the Bible and other really old texts, that what we understand now as a single book was probably an amalgamation of different teachings that have been brought together over these long periods of time. So the first sutra of chapter 2 says, Tapaha Svadhyaya Ishvara Pranidhanani Kriya Yoga, which is basically saying, in order to practice Kriya Yoga, which is the method he's recommending, you need to practice, reflect, and surrender. So again, I always find that everything Patanjali says is very highly relevant, and you know, its use by date has not passed, even though it was 2,000 years old. So those are the three pillars of practice. So we can think about the practice part as being also, some commentaries call it purification, which sounds a little bit kind of austere, but the word Kriya means to sort of cleanse and purify, and it's the cleansing of the mind rather than what we might associate cleansing and purification with now. So nothing to do with going to a posh spa and having an enema or anything like that. It's this is the ancient practice of purification through focusing the mind and through the Hatha Yoga tradition, doing the postures and breathing as well. And then Svadhyaya, reflection, is a kind of twin-pronged thing. So it is also that idea of awareness and reflection and mindfulness that we talk about almost every week. But it also includes reading inspirational texts and hearing inspirational teachings. And then the final one, the surrender, is also taken in a couple of ways. So these days we take it in quite a secular way, as being surrendering to consciousness, to a higher purpose. And actually this, as I said before, Patanjali is part of a philosophy that isn't particularly religious, but some other people interpret the word Ishvara, which does mean a kind of supreme intelligence in the universe, as equating that to God. But definitely Patanjali and this philosophical school didn't do that. So an attitude of surrender, and it can be sort of individual and personal, or it can be cosmic. So we'll try and bring some of these three concepts of practice, self-study and surrender into our class tonight. And we'll begin with a little breathing practice where we're going to try and surrender the exhale to have as much length as possible, and to let that exhale just drop down towards the ground, drop down to the earth. So in this breathing practice, we'll visualize the exhale moving from the chest or the lungs down through the body, through the legs, through the feet, and dissolving into the earth. So it's almost like we say goodbye to the exit of the out breath in a more complete way in our minds than we might normally think of the out breath. So let's just close the eyes. If you'd rather keep your eyes open, that's fine. Just have them forward and downcast. So take a moment to notice how you're feeling this evening, to tune into your body, to notice all the sensations in it, and to take a moment to really notice anything that needs particular looking after during the class. Maybe just a feeling of not being great in one joint, or knowing you have an injury, or anything else. So this is part of the self-study, this process and this habit of continually just turning our awareness in as well as out, in order to notice what it is that is taking place at any given moment. And then begin to focus your concentration on your breath, breathing in and out through the nose. And when you have a nice, steady, slow rhythm of breath without any strain, and if the nose is blocked, just use the mouth as you need to. Then begin to think about that visual image of the exhale being breathed out, being breathed down through the body, down through the legs, out through the soles of the feet, and down to the earth, whatever it is you have under the soles of the feet right now. Or if you're sitting cross-legged, you're breathing down through the base of the pelvis and the outside of the feet and the shins down to the earth. Not so worried about the in-breath, just let the in-breath come in of its own accord. It's going to maybe have a sensation of coming up from the ground or coming in from the space around you. It's just the exhale we're focusing on. I'm going to keep it really, really simple. And if you are used to working with Ujjayi breath, then you can emphasize that exhale. So I'm not really bothered about whether you do Ujjayi on the in-breath. On the exhale, you could use your Ujjayi, your soft sighing sound, to lengthen and really emphasize that downward earth connection of the exhale. And remember, if you're struggling at all with Ujjayi on the exhale, then just do a couple of breaths, sighing the breath out through the mouth, so in through the nose, down to the ground. And when you've done 2 or 3, you can just close the mouth halfway through that exhale, and you'll automatically get that same sound, but breathing out through the nose. So let's just silently do 2 or 3 more breaths. Long exhale down to the ground. And just take a moment to embrace that svadhyaya, that self-inquiry. Notice if there's a sense of change, perhaps in your energy, in the focus of the mind, even in that sense of the body. It's almost as if you're dropping your true weight of your body down into the ground, or just becoming aware of that in a slightly more visceral manner as you do that breath. Okay, so we're going to work now down on the mat. We'll begin, as we often do, with a little bit of lower back release. So if you'd like to support the back of the head and come down to semi-supine to begin with, just for a moment. We're just going to take, before we do anything, just take 2 breaths here. So this is already a back release position, semi-supine, really feeling that the lower back is flat on the floor. So still breathing in through the nose now and doing that long exhale, Ujjayi breath or not, down to the ground, but this time down through the feet and also through the back of the pelvis and down through the lower back. So feeling that lower back really connecting and flattening down to the mat. And as you do that, you'll automatically get a little bit of engagement through the core muscles at the front of the body. As you breathe in, just soften this area of the lower abdomen a little bit, and then the long exhale down to the ground. Really sense what you can feel through the soles of the feet, the temperature, the texture, so that we're ramping up, refining that self-study, that awareness. We literally are aware of every sensation in our body right now. And then bring the knees in over the chest, hold the shins or the back of the thigh, move from side to side. rolling the head the opposite way, making sure you have enough support underneath the back of the head, that the forehead is level with or higher than the chin. So you really feel the back of the neck is stretched out and long, which makes this rotational, this neck freeing movement much more effective. And then come back to center, and you can either place the hands on the knees if you need to not work the tummy too strongly, or a slightly stronger version of this next practice is to relax the hands down onto the mat and have the palms down so you can really feel the earth, the floor beneath the palms. And begin with slow circles. So we're keeping the knees together at this point. This isn't a hip opener, it's rotating around the sacroiliac joint, around the pelvis, and also continuing to give us that feeling of the lower back being very grounded and also releasing a little bit now. And if you want to work this core area a little bit more strongly, you just make those circles a tiny bit wider, but there's no point going too wide and feeling that the body is really being pulled out of balance too much at this point. So we'll do a couple of circles around in the other direction. And then we're going to come back to center, again holding the shins or the thighs, and just do one double leg drawing in of the thighs towards the chest during that long exhale down to the ground. And see if you can also roll the shoulders back and down. So we've got the shoulder blades, the back of the head, the lower back, just the tailbone lifting away, really connecting down through the back of the body. And then breathing in, let the arms straighten. And if this is strong enough, stay here. Otherwise, we're going to hold the right shin or right thigh, slide the left leg straight, and really make that left leg work now. So stretch the heel away, pull the toes back, spread the bones of the foot, spread the toes, really feel like the whole leg is active, anchoring down to the earth, the left side of the pelvis. Breathing in, and then breathing out, drawing the right thigh in. And try not to let this left leg buckle at all as you do that. So just come in as far as is comfortable for you. Inhaling, let the arms straighten, and exhale, drawing the right thigh in. And just once more. If you couldn't wait till after class to have your tea and you've just had your tea, then don't go too deep, because it won't feel great. This is a kind of digestion mover, but not when your stomach is actually full of food. So we'll release the right leg now, slide that straight, do the same thing, make this right leg the anchor, bring the left shin in, hold the shin or the thigh, and exhale, left thigh moving in, inhale, long exhale down to the ground, those shoulder blades trying to press down as well. So there's a little feeling of space between the shoulder blades as that thoracic spine moves into the body a little bit as you press the shoulder blades down to the earth. And just once more. And then release the left leg, give both legs a little shake, rock the pelvis from side to side. And then coming back in, this time we are doing our hip opener, so knees as wide as possible, inhaling for half a circle, and then long exhale down to the ground through the back of the pelvis as you circle wide into the hips, and finding that pain-free range of movement, and then just encouraging it to expand a little into a little softness and a little bit of space. So the first pillar of Kriya Yoga, the practice, the tapas or tapasya, we're doing now, and tapas also means heat or transformation. So some yoga practices can be stronger than others, and some methods of practice, the dynamic vinyasa or the slow mindful movements that we're doing tonight, they're all in the same category. They're all tapas, they're all practice, and they just work in different ways. So we're more likely to feel this tapasya, this change from our practice in individual joints. We're aware of it because we're moving so slowly, but also in the mind. Whereas if we were doing a Ashtanga yoga session, doing a very fast, dynamic weight-bearing practice, we might feel it more in the sweat, the elevated heart rate, and the more rapid breathing rate. So let's do 2 circles back in the other direction. There's no judgment there really about one isn't right, one isn't wrong. It's different stages of life and different needs of different students. And then next time the feet, knees come together, take the feet down hip width apart, arms beside the body. So we're going to do a little bit of cross crawling. So the left arm is going up and the right knee is coming in. And then as we extend that arm overhead, we're going to extend the right leg up and take our first stretch through the back of the leg. Trying to open the back of the knee joint, pull the toes back and take that heel as far up towards the ceiling as we can. And then breathing out long, exhale, Ujjayi breath down to the ground, down through the back of the body, back of the pelvis and the feet. So next inhale will be left leg and right arm moving into the stretch, and exhaling, coming out of the stretch. Going to do one more on each side like this and then just change it slightly. So next time the right leg goes up into the air and the left arm comes overhead, we're just going to hold this position and take a couple of breaths in. This will give us a chance to use that long exhale down to the ground from the heel all the way down the leg through the right side of the pelvis to really deepen and create a bit even more space in the back of this right leg. At the same time, we're still lengthening through the left hand, spreading the fingers. So quite a lot of effort through the right leg and through the arm, but the rest of the body remains soft. The breathing remains undisturbed, steady flow, long exhale down to the ground. If your hamstrings are tight and getting the leg straight is actually too much, it's making the muscle contract unduly or shake, then just soften the knee a little bit. Find that sweet spot where you are creating space, but you're not taking your tapasya, your practice, out of practice and into kind of self-punishment. We don't want that. And then next, long exhale down to the ground, bringing that left arm up, bending the right knee, taking the foot down, and then coming into the held stretch on the other side. Left leg up, right arm overhead, stretching through. Find a comfortable space for the shoulders. If they're feeling a bit tight, you might just need to soften the elbow and try to slide the shoulder blade down the back a little bit. Keep working the length through the left leg, through the right arm, through the left toes, through the right fingers. Inhaling normally, long exhale now, down the left heel, down the left leg, down through the left hip and down into the ground. And on this next exhale, we're going to release from this practice. Let's bring the knees in over the chest, take a little rock from side to side. So our next move is to just give the body a full body stretch. So now stretching through both arms and both legs, legs straight, flat along the floor, and just soften the left arm and left leg as you slightly exaggerate the stretch in the right side. Try to sense that additional space, particularly along the outside of the right ribs there. And then relax the right arm and right leg, and now shift your focus to the left side of the body. Keep breathing as you do this stretch. Relax the left side, and then point the right foot and stretch through the left fingertips. So you're going across the body. Pull the toes back, relax, and stretch through the right arm. Point the left foot. Inhale, stretch. Pull the toes back and relax. Bring the knees back in over the chest. Take the arms out at shoulder height. So knees in over the chest. We're just going to start here. But if you've got any lower back problems, take the feet down and you'll just be coming into a very simple version of the spinal twist. If you don't have lower back problems, we're just going to start this twist with a little bit of strengthening work for the tummy muscles and these muscles at the side of the body, the obliques. So we're not going all the way over into a twist. We're going about 2 o'clock on your clock face, and then inhale, bring the knees back up to center. That's 12 o'clock, and then exhale, take the knees to the other side to about 10 o'clock. That's all you need to do. You can roll the head the opposite way to the knees. And as long as you're keeping the shoulders and the arms connected down to the earth at all times, you can go a little bit further. Maybe try 230. If it starts to lift the opposite shoulder, that's too much. And the other way, maybe 9:30 on this side. Inhale back to center. And now we're going to come into the twist. So we just take the knees over to about 2 or 230, and then take the feet down. And now relax the legs, roll the head the opposite way. And allow your body to be in the twist for 3 breaths. A little bit of constriction in the abdomen, so the breath is more in the chest. And use that long exhale down to the ground to just allow yourself to almost dissolve any restrictions to the twist, to feel a softening through the spine and a little bit of deepening of that movement as a result. And then at the end of the next exhale, breathing in, bring the knees and head to center, and then knees in over the chest. Exhale, begin to take them to the left, and then drop the feet down, release the knees to the side, roll the head the opposite way, and come into the twist on the other side. Again, just holding for 3 breaths. Normal inhale, long Ujjayi exhale down to the ground. That is your practice tonight, the concentration, the discipline to keep doing that breath down to the ground and make that your main tool of transformation, and to surrender to that breath, the third ingredient in Kriya Yoga. Practice, self-study, surrender. And then breathing in, bringing the head and knees to center, draw the knees in, take a little rock from side to side. And I'm just going to show you the next practice. It's just a little bit different from things we've done in previous weeks, but pretty simple really. There's actually a simple version for everyone, and then there's a slightly stronger one for those, again, who can do a little bit more back work and do a little bit more strengthening work in the core of the body. So we're going to breathe in and take both arms overhead with the feet flat on the floor, and then breathing out, bring the hands back beside the body. So it can be as simple as that. Stage 2, breathing in, arms overhead, Breathing out, long exhale down to the ground. This time when the hands get level with the knees, just lifting the shoulders and reaching for the outside of the knees, keeping the tummy in as you rise up. As you breathe in, head down, arms are going overhead. So stage 3 is to add in this back lift, the back bend by lifting the hips on the inhale, and then rolling the spine down and curling up on the exhale. So I'm gonna talk you into that, and you will just progress to the one that's gonna work well for you. So feet hip width apart, feet flat on the floor, arms beside the body, breathing in, taking both arms overhead, elbows, wrists, shoulders are soft. Find the space in the heart, open the chest. Long exhale down to the ground, through the back of the body, through the feet, through the pelvis. Hands back where they started. Inhale, arms overhead. Only if you want to. We're going to curl up this time. So breathing out, try and only breathe half your breath until the hands are level with the knees. Keep the tummy in, and then just lifting the shoulders, lifting the head, looking between the knees. As you inhale, take the head down, then take the arms overhead. Let's do one more of those before we do the back bend one. Exhale, hands coming forward, navel to spine, shoulders lift. And then again, only if it's going to work for you, this time as the arms go overhead, pressing through the feet, floating the pelvis up into the air. Exhaling, long exhale down to the ground, roll the spine down, wait for the back of the pelvis to touch the mat, and then lift the shoulders and reach. So up to 3 more now, of whichever version is working for you. And try and make this effortless. So just because it's called tapasya, practice, and sometimes that's translated as fire and heat and transformation and alchemy, doesn't mean it has to be really tough. It doesn't mean, and it shouldn't mean, that it pushes the body out of balance and into a distressed state. So just finding that appropriate level of practice where you are moving yourself forward, you're moving into transformation, you're not in your comfort zone, but also you haven't stepped beyond what you can currently do. If we tried to do everything all the time, there'd be nowhere to go. So really use that second pillar, the reflection, the svadhyaya, to know which is the right level of practice for you right now. So you're probably getting around to the last one now, and you'll finish with that last curling up, and then inhale, take the head down, bring the knees in over the chest, rock from side to side, and then we're going to roll over onto our sides, come onto all fours, and just pad our knees for a little bit of cat. And we're going to come from cat into a kneeling position. So it's really important you have adequate padding tonight. It's important you have it every week, but particularly tonight. So either add a cushion or another layer, or fold the blanket over one more time, so there's really no discomfort into the front of the knee joint. Hands as usual, just in front of the shoulders, about a palm width in front. Spread the fingers, make the back flat, and then begin to move in and out of the cat with your breath, inhaling into back bend and exhaling, tucking the tail, tucking the chin, arching up. Breathing in, and then connecting this movement to our long ujjayi exhale. Take that breath down to the ground, through the shins, through the top of the feet, through the hands. A long exhale to give you that little bit of additional time in the back arch position, where you feel the space between the shoulder blades, the muscles there, which are the rhomboids, getting a little bit of a stretch. And even though this is the the normal curve of the thoracic spine, an outward curve. It still quite likes to be stretched in this direction when we're on all fours, and you can often get quite a satisfying little click or feeling of space coming into the mid-back as you do that long exhale. So once more. And then breathing in back to your starting position, and then breathing out, sliding the hips down towards the heels, sliding the hands away from you. Take the elbows down, bring the hands in, make a pillow, rest the forehead down. Notice how you feel. Notice any increase in temperature in the body. We often experience that after the previous practice because of the engagement of multiple core muscles. They create a lot of heat in the core of the body, which radiates out. And that gives us a nice connection to that aspect of tapas that is heat and the way in which heat transforms. So we're going to come up now and just sit back on the heels in this kneeling position. And those of you who've been working with me for a while will have done these earth salutes before, but they're a very nice way to explore this concept of surrender. So I'll just show you one. It's very, very simple, and then we'll do them together, and then we'll do some as a self-practice where we'll try and integrate those three pillars of Patanjali's Kriya Yoga. So just watching this one, breathing in, coming up to high kneeling, drawing the arms apart, a kind of cactus arms position so you can really open the shoulders. Breathing out, taking the hands down and then bowing the forehead down towards the mat, to the earth. Breathing in, your hands should be in the right position for cat. And then breathing out, hips back towards the heels and actively stretching the arms away. Breathing in, coming back up to high kneeling, open the chest. Breathing out, sitting back on the heels to kneeling and your starting position. So we'll do one together, and then I've got a couple of postures that will fold into that sequence for those who want a slightly more demanding practice. So in this phase of the class, we're really playing with sort of pushing the tapas, the practice, the fire element a little bit, but trying to bring the laser beam of intellect and wisdom to that practice, and keep asking ourselves in the svadhyaya, the self-reflection, is this what I need to do, or is my ego taking me somewhere that I shouldn't really go? So palms together in front of the heart, breathing in, coming up to high kneeling, opening the heart, drawing the shoulders back and down. Long exhale down to the ground and bow to the earth. Breathing in, bring the body up, bring the hips over the knees to the cat head up position. And breathing out, slide the hips back and stretch the arms away from you to lengthen the spine. Long exhale to the ground. Inhale, coming up to high kneeling. Draw the shoulders open. Exhale, kneeling, hands in front of the heart. We're going again 2 more times, breathing in. Long exhale, bow to the earth. Breathing in, open the spine. Long exhale down to the earth, stretch the spine. Breathing in, rising up, open the heart. Breathing out, back to kneeling. Do one more in your own time. And this time, when you arrive back at your starting position, close the eyes for a moment. Notice how you feel, notice your breath. So that's pretty familiar now. So we're going to do another version which has got 2 additional poses in it. But if you want to stick with this simple version, you just carry on. Do maybe 2, take a rest, whatever you need to do. If you're okay to move on a little bit, we'll just do this one together. So essentially, after that cat position, we're going to come up into a downward dog, and then we're going to take a lunge on one side, and then when we repeat the practice, we'll do the lunge on the other side, and then we'll be done. So breathing in, first position, open up. Breathing out, bow down to the earth. Long exhale. Breathing in, cat head up, but tuck the toes. And breathing out, coming into your downward dog. Remember, you can rest the hands on the seat of the chair or the back of the chair if you don't want to take weight into the wrists. Just hold position here in the dog, but it's not a static dog. Draw alternate hips back to stretch the sides of the body on each exhale. And then walking the dog, exhaling into one heel, exhaling into the other heel, twice to each side. And then breathing in, taking the left knee down and bringing the right foot forwards. And that might take just a little bit of negotiation and alignment to get this foot where we want it. We want it hip width apart from the back knee. We definitely want that left knee to feel well supported and padded. And again, if you don't want any weight through that joint, you can do this with the right foot on the seat of the chair, as we've been doing in other classes. Let's assume we're okay here. It's a little bit easier for this sequence. And we're just going to take another couple of breaths. And as we exhale down to the ground through that right foot, just feeling a softening through the pelvis, and the pelvis moving down in this direction towards the ground as well, which will emphasize that lengthening through the front of the left thigh. And then to release from that, slightly straighten the leg, bring the right knee back. And then on the next inhale, coming up, and exhale back to your starting position. So once more, to put in the lunge on the other side, breathing in, opening the heart, exhaling, bowing to the earth. Inhale, cat head up, tuck the toes. Long exhale, head down, hips up, downward dog, any version. Breathing in and breathing out, stretching the sides of the body. And exhaling, long exhale into alternate heels, increasing the length through the back of the legs, but keeping the spine long. Breathing in, right knee is coming down, left foot is coming forwards. Rest the hands on that left thigh, open up. And breathe. Remember, if you're doing the simple version of this practice, that is your perfect practice tonight. That's your intelligence, your svadhyaya, your self-study. That's what you need tonight. And if you're feeling that this is too strong, you can just release back into pose of the child at any time. 2 more breaths here. Long exhale down through the left foot allowing the hips just to sink down towards the earth, this time stretching through the right thigh and through the front of the right side of the pelvis. And then releasing that left leg back, breathing in, rising up, and exhale back to your starting position. And again, take a moment to notice the sensations in the body. And then releasing the hands down. We're going to make our way up to standing. And we'll be moving through a couple of standing poses into a balance. I'm just going to turn the chair around because when we get to the balance, if you've got a chair like this, if you've been using it at the end of the mat, it can be a really helpful aid, as we're going to do a slightly trickier balance this week than we normally do. But we'll start with shrugging the shoulders. Always good to release the shoulders when we've just been asking them to do weight bearing, as we have with the cat and the dog. And then give the arms a shake. Take the hands behind. This is far enough. If you can, interlace the fingers, just squeezing the shoulder blades together, drawing them slightly down the back. Release the arms. Breathing in, roll the shoulders back, turn the palms out, sweep the arms up into the air, bring the palms towards each other overhead, and then exhaling down through the midline of the body. Next time you breathe in, feel like you're gathering your energy and also lifting your toes, but keeping the heels on the mat. Long Ujjayi breath down through the feet, through the soles of the feet down to the ground. Next inhale, as we rise up, hovering the heels if you can. Remember, you can hold the chair. Exhale, release them down. Two more. Next one with the toes. And then the heels. And release the hands down. Step the right leg forwards and the left leg back, hardly turning out the back foot, keeping the feet hip width apart. Keep the right leg straight for a moment, bring the palms together. And then breathing in, opening the heart and moving the right leg into a slight lunge, and then exhale, coming back down again. So the side view of that, breathing in and long exhale, breathing out. Once more. And then changing to the other side. So this version of Warrior One really opens up the same structures that would have got missed out if you weren't able to do the lunge on the mat. It's partly for that reason that we're doing it, but also it's a different type of posture, a little bit more balance needed, and that additional sense of connecting down to the earth through the soles of the feet. Long exhale down to the ground, and one more. And then release, give the arms and legs a little shake. Take the feet a little bit wider now. fix this left leg, foot is neutral or toes slightly turned in, and then with the hands on the hips so they don't turn, hips not turning at all, bend the right knee, turn the right foot out, rotate the thigh outwards so you're opening this right hip. And as we always say, if you just lean over and check that the center of the kneecap is tracking the second toe, so we wouldn't normally turn the foot out anywhere near 90 degrees. You want that foot to absolutely reflect the amount of hip opening that is being shown by the knee position of the upper leg. And then tendency always is to lean towards a lunged leg, so bring the spine back to center, feel like you're right over the midline, and now you've got an equal distribution of weight through both legs down to the ground, even though this knee is bent and therefore the muscles are working around that right thigh. Hands together in front of the heart, draw the shoulders back and down, and then we're just going to straighten the leg for a moment. And now as we inhale, coming into the lunge, extend the arms, turn the head, look to the right, and exhale, coming back. So the practice here is to find that perfect position for your legs. You can feel the stretch of the inner thigh of the left leg. You can feel the lunge work in the right leg. Hopefully you can feel the softness in the shoulders as the arms extend. And this whole movement in and out of Warrior Two is being led by your inhale and then long Ujjayi exhale back down to the ground. At the end of this exhale, turning that right foot in, softening the left knee, opening the left hip. You bring the hands back onto the hips just to make sure they're not turning this way. So real feeling that the opening is here now in this left hip, and that this right foot is pushing down, pushing into the outside of the foot, really anchoring this side of the pelvis. Hands together, breathing in, straightening the leg, holding position. Exhale, and then inhale, lunging the left leg, extending the arms, looking left. And exhale, long exhale back to center. 2 more times. And then turn that foot in, heel and toe together, give the legs a little shake. And almost our last posture tonight is the balance. Got 2 stages to it, so nice easy beginning. Hold the chair if you need to, and then just begin to raise and lower the opposite arm with the breath. Inhale, it floats up, and as the arm goes up, the right foot can lift. Exhale, arm down, leg down. Inhale, right arm and left leg. And if you know you can do that without needing to hold, then you're just moving in and out of the heron balance. So if you don't have a chair or you can't put yourself near a wall, you just do a mini version of that, coming up onto the toes, lifting the heel. So use that self-inquiry to find the right version for you. And make this next breath the last one. Pause for a second. Again, use the chair or a wall if you need to. So we're going to go into a tree and try and hold it for 3 breaths. So I'm going to soften the knee of the leg that's away from the chair, open the hip, bring the heel in, but just keep the toes on the mat. And then the right hand comes in as if it's there with the other hand. So if you don't need the chair, you can bring the palms together. And then see if you can make that right foot as light as possible, or even just lift it off the mat. Find a gaze point, keep your breath steady, and use that long exhale down through the standing leg, long ujjayi breath to really support your balance. And then on an inhale, rotate that knee in, release down for a second. So either move the chair around or turn the body around so you can take the other hand on the chair if you're using it. And then we're going to open the other hip, bring the other palm in, and then coming into this modified tree on the other side. 3 breaths. And then release. You can see how much more difficult held balance is compared with the dynamic balance. And particularly with those long exhales, it's actually more like 5 breaths if we were breathing normally. So we're coming into our final pose before relaxation, which is our mild inversion. So the usual position, something to support the back of the head. If you've got it, a yoga block to slide under the pelvis, and then give yourself a few moments here to either close the eyes or have a soft gaze up towards the ceiling as the body comes into this mild inversion. And maybe just take stock, do a little audit of your 3 pillars of Kriya Yoga. How was that practice for you? Was it too intense, just about right? Were you able to manage the intensity through the different options? Were you able to hold the mind steady? There's the svadhyaya, the self-inquiry. Was it a mindful practice? And thirdly, were you able to allow yourself to surrender both to this present moment and to the process of transformation that is at the heart of everything we do in yoga? And then notice your heart rate and breathing rate settling a little. Notice the calmness that the relaxation and inversion poses like this one bring. And then when you're ready in the next breath or two, feel free to move into your preferred relaxation position. And I know some of you like to stay in this mild inversion for some, if not all, of the relaxation. If you're coming down, just lie on your back in the usual position. Any discomfort in the lower back, support to the back of the knees with a bolster or have the knees bent. So any comfortable position for you will be ideal. And then take a moment to notice the points of contact to the earth in this new position. And we're going to use our breathing practice just to settle us into the relaxation. So 3 really good conscious breaths, breathing in through the nose, and a long ujjayi breath, this time through the whole of the back of the body, or all the points of contact down to the ground, down to the earth, to soften and surrender into the stillness that we're trying to find here. And then allow your breath to be in a more natural rhythm, but just retaining that sense of elongation in the exhale without actually trying to create that. And instead of breathing down to the ground, having just a more subtle sense of trying to use that out breath to release the body just a little bit more than it already is. So take your awareness to the right leg, and as you breathe in, gradually feel as if you are drawing the muscles of the whole of the right leg closer to the bones of the leg. So not pulling or pushing in any direction, but drawing in, feeling a little tightening of those muscles. And then on an exhale, allow all the muscles of the right leg to soften, and allow the right leg to release down to the earth. And just notice the difference in sensation between that right leg and that left leg. And then breathing in, do the same on the whole of the left leg, drawing the muscles in, engaging them, drawing them into the bones of the left leg. And on an exhale, releasing and softening all the muscles of the left leg. Allow the left leg to release down to the ground. Move your awareness up to the pelvis, and in the same way, as you breathe in, feel as if you're drawing all the muscles of the front and the back of the pelvis in towards each other, really holding the pelvis tightly with your own muscles. And as you exhale, feel those muscles softening, feel the pelvis sinking down towards the earth as you release it. Breathing in, allow yourself to breathe into as much softness in the abdomen as you can find. And as you breathe out, feel as if you are gently drawing the abdominal muscles in towards each other, the many layers of muscles there, and feel the lower back being held against the floor, against the earth behind you. And then as you breathe in, come back into the softness of the abdomen. And as you breathe out, allow the lower back to soften and release. Bring your awareness to the back of the ribs and the shoulder blades. And as you breathe in, slightly pressing the shoulder blades and the back ribs down to the earth. And that will just allow the mid part of the back to sink, feel like it's sinking a little bit deeper into the middle of the body. Everything is drawing in towards the center of the body. And as you exhale, releasing the back ribs and the back shoulders. Awareness to the right arm. As you breathe in, feel as if you're drawing the muscles of the right arm in towards the bones of the right arm. Feel as if the muscles around the shoulder are just tightening a little and holding the shoulder firmly against the back ribs. And as you exhale, soften the arm, soften the shoulder, release down to the earth. Notice the difference in sensation between the right arm and shoulder and the left arm and shoulder. And then breathing in, tightening the muscles around the left arm, left forearm, left upper arm, left shoulder. And as you exhale, soften and release down to the earth. On your next breath in, slightly tuck the chin, extend the back of the head away from you, lengthen the back of the neck. And as you exhale, gently rotate the head to the right. Breathing in, bring the head to center. Exhale, long exhale, rotate the head in the other direction. Inhale, back to center. Exhale, slightly tuck the chin and allow the back of the neck to release into space. On your next inhale, squeeze and tighten the muscles of the face. Draw up the eyes for a moment. As you exhale, soften and release the face. Open the mouth slightly, move the jaw from side to side, and move the tongue from side to side in the mouth, and then let the jaw and the tongue relax. Allow the face to relax. Feel as if you are exhaling through the back of the head down to the ground and allowing the face just to soften back towards the head, eyes resting back into the eye sockets, tongue resting softly in the mouth. Bring the whole of your body into your awareness. Not going to tense any more muscles. Just be aware of the whole of your body. And as you exhale, allow the whole of your body to soften. And now allow your breath to deepen and reconnect with the body. Move the fingers, wriggle the toes, stretch into your arms and your legs in any way that feels good. And when you're ready, bend your knees, roll onto your side, and make your way back up to sitting. Either sitting cross-legged, supported by blocks, or sitting back on the chair. And we'll close tonight's practice as we've been doing by just revisiting the breathing practice for tonight. So eyes downcast or closed. Just breathing in naturally, in through the nose unless the nose is blocked. And a long ujjayi exhale down to the ground. 3 breaths. And take a moment to have a final reflection on how you feel in your body, your breath, your mind. And then when you're ready, blinking, open the eyes. Just a recap, Patanjali's chapter on practice begins with the path of Kriya Yoga, Tapaha, Svadhyaya, Ishvara, Pranidhana, Kriya Yoga. So the practice, 3 pillars of the practice system: practice, reflection, surrender, or sometimes described as purification, refinement, and surrender.